attacks and sharks in general scare the masses. I mean, I don't know anyone who would really be okay with being in open water with this big guy. But sharks often have the title of man-eater, and for them it's really a title that causes the species a lot of strife because they're seen as predators that, you know, thirst for your blood and want to eat you, and everybody is really afraid of that idea. But what it leads to, the fear of these animals, is it leads to a hatred for a creature that's just trying to survive. We all know what a shark is, and you know, why shouldn't we be afraid? They're the ocean's top predators. They've been around for 450 million years, adapting to become, you know, a predator. They have huge jaws and razor-sharp teeth, and they're flexible and agile, and overall, they're just scary. You know, when you see one, you're like, I'm not okay with this. But most of the time, sharks aren't even really that dangerous. There's only 3 that are really aggressive in any way, and it's the bull shark, the great white, and the tiger shark. But one of the interesting things is that with these sharks, they've all been filmed in open water, which means that there's no cage or anything, and that kind of just proves that they're really not that dangerous. They're actually kind of docile. And they're not just thoughtless eaters. They don't just eat anything that moves. So even though they have been known to attack humans, it's really been over-dramatized by Jaws. That movie contributed so much to the slaughter of great whites. In 1975, when the movie came out, I don't think Steven Spielberg had any idea what this movie was going to do, but in the end, it ended like up with great whites as an endangered species, basically. So basically, it led to this widespread and irresponsible slaughter of sharks. So they're really not that as bad as we claim them to be, or as we've seen in like publicity. But we're not really afraid of them enough to actually stay out of the water. But the funny thing is out of billions of people, only 118 people a year are attacked by sharks. And when you're talking about attacks, you have to think of unprovoked versus provoked, because the number of unprovoked attacks pales in comparison to the number of provoked attacks, which means people are trying to feed them or trying to touch them or pull their tail or something. I mean, you're just asking for it. I mean, that's not very smart. But in all honesty, only 4 fatalities occur a year by sharks. And those are unprovoked. And usually it's not because the shark ate you for dinner. It's because you got bit, maybe by like a curiosity, like the shark was interested in you, and then you bled to death. So it wasn't like you got eaten. But also, you're more likely to get struck by lightning or get killed by a pig or a roller coaster or one of these. More people are killed by vending machines a year than they are sharks. So next time you're eating snacks too, you know what? I hope you don't hear the Jaws theme song because it's coming for you. So why are people so afraid? I don't think any of you guys could doubt that you're probably a little bit afraid of sharks. They're overall just very intimidating creatures, but scientists think that it's a learned fear, that most people learn to be afraid, but also, you know, they're just predators. It's like genetically in our genetic code for us to be a little bit afraid of them, you know? I mean, and we're also afraid that we're going to get devoured by them or whatever, but sharks can go without eating for 6 weeks, and humans have never been like a big part of their diet over the last couple of millennia, so they're not really interested in our little scrawny bodies, you know? So, I mean, if we can dispel the fears about sharks, we can get rid of like the cliche of them as man-eaters. But one of the bigger ideas that I'm trying to get to here, I mean, is why shouldn't we be afraid? I mean, it's true, they're dangerous. I mean, you can't go out into the water with like a bloody carcass and expect yourself not to get a little bit bitten, you know, like if you're trying to feed them or something. But, I mean, their pure predatory skill deserves our reverence. But also, not just fear, they deserve our respect. We don't know enough about them to fear them or likewise respect them. But here's like my really big point, is all this fear has led us to, we've lost all reverence times for the species. And it's led to this. And for me, this is what's the real problem. It's not a shark attack, it's a man attack. It's resulted in the killing of over 100 million sharks a year, which compared to 4 accidental freak deaths of humans, 100 million, that's a big deal. And whether it's by sport or because you hate sharks or you're afraid of them, or because you're gonna make soup out of them, I mean, it doesn't really seem that that's the right way to go. So, in all honesty, we shouldn't really fear them, we should respect them. And I want to show you guys a little video now, so you can understand. How do I get this to show?
Like a Greenpeace campaign to save the sharks.
As you can see, this actually goes on quite a bit, and they don't even use the rest of the shark. They just cut its fins off and usually throw its body back into the ocean. But back to the topic of the text, it's just the risk you take by invading aquatic territory at your leisure, just as much as the risk you take of breaking your leg when you go ice skating or getting hit by a drunk driver when you go out at night or when you leave your home. But the difference is sharks are in their natural habitat. They're at home, and when we're coming in and doing these kinds of things to them, it's just not right, especially when that's where they've been for millions and millions of years. So what is wrong is the cruelty that humans exhibit towards these creatures, especially when they're holding the whole ecosystem of the ocean on their backs. So humans taking advantage of sharks is wrong, especially when all they're trying to do is survive under the constant threat of humans.